This grid set by the second quickest time for each driver in qualifying yesterday, and it is Ryan Smith who has taken pole, just ahead of Stuart Oliver. Two men with 17 British titles between them. Stuart Oliver won the second race held yesterday. Ryan Smith won the first, which was a postponed race from Thruxton earlier this year. Second row, David Jenkins and Michael Oliver. His truck fixed after an off at Brooklands yesterday. Row 3, the Reed brothers, Simon ahead of Craig in their Ivicos. And on row 4, John Bowler, number 14, struggling a bit yesterday alongside Stephen Powell. On the fifth row, Bradley Smith, he's been having some handling problems with his MAN. And Tom O'Rourke, who missed the second race yesterday after problems in race 1, completes the top 10. Row 6 of the grid will be number 92, Simon Faulkner, with his Iveco alongside welcome returnee Jock Borthwick, coming back from injury this weekend. The Scotsman in his MAN. Ricky Collett and Neil Yates complete the Division 1 field. Ricky Collett failed to set a time in qualifying after a bit of a moment yesterday, but he'll be out there from the back. Then we've got Division 2 further back. It's Paul Rivette who got the second quickest time to set pole for this one, ahead of Adam Bintz. They've swapped around from race 1 yesterday. Craig Evans and John Powell on row 2, and Simon Cole and Jim Bennett complete the grid. So that's your lineup. We should have 20 trucks out there across the two divisions. Ryan Smith, with continued success, could possibly seal the title this weekend if things go his way, an 8th consecutive Division 1 title. If he can get more than 80 points clear at the end of the weekend, that's how many is on offer at Brands Hatch at the season finale in November. It's currently 53 points clear of Stuart Oliver by my own calculations after yesterday. David Jenkins 4 points further back, and then Bradley Smith in P4. In Division 2, meanwhile, Adam Bintz sits 11 points clear of Paul Rivette. It was Rivette who won the second race yesterday. John Powell is 20 points further back in the number 6. Craig Evans failed to finish the second race held yesterday, so that's dropped him away. He's 53 points down, so I suspect it's going to be between those three. Division 2, I don't think we're going to see it decided this weekend. That will go through to the finale at Brands. This will be a 15-minute race. The Martin Oliver Transport GT Tyres MAN in position as our pace truck. These trucks weigh around 5 tonnes. They produce almost 1,000 horsepower from their 12 and 13 litre turbo diesel engines. So we sit on board with John Bowler with his MAN, number 14, making the move up to Division 1 this season. Has had one win at Thruxton in July. That meeting, of course, was unfortunately abandoned after Neil Yates had a big accident, and due to barrier damage, the last race couldn't be held. So that was postponed and held here yesterday, effectively as an additional race run by Ryan Smith. Race 1 of this Pembrey meeting was won by Stuart Oliver. Adam Bint locked in battle with Paul Rivette and John Powell in Division 2. There's Neil Yates ahead of us, now up in Division 1 in an ex-Stephen Powell MAN. They were rolling away then. Start the rolling lap with Adam Bint. If you've not seen truck racing before, you have got a real treat coming up here on BARC TV. These trucks are limited electronically to 100 miles an hour. If you do exceed that 100 miles an hour limit, then you risk exclusion. We saw that happen to Paul Rivette earlier this season on one occasion. Hatchett's hairpin is certainly not going to be for the faint of heart first time around. Good to see Tom O'Rourke's back out there, missed the second race yesterday. So it looks like we've got our full complements. There's Simon Cole and Jim Bennett at the back. Gentleman Jim, the oldest man on the grid in his Seddon Atkinson. Oldest competitor in Division 1, I think, is Ricky Collett there at the back, the champion on 2 occasions back in the 1990s, a real veteran of truck racing. Second visit of the season to Pembrey for the championship. They came here back in May. Ryan Smith had a couple of wins on that occasion. Jock Borthwick took his first Division 1 win, and Michael Oliver had a win as well. The Reed brothers in their Ivicos, identical. in almost every way except for the numbers. There's Jock Borthwick, good to have him back after those injuries he suffered in a motorcycle crash earlier this year. Here we go then. Big rigs on track in South Wales. I'm looking forward to this. It's keeping it steady around the far end of the circuit at Brooklands. You can see those tyre marks. That's where Michael Oliver went off yesterday. The tractors will have to be brought in if anybody does get bogged down in the grass. See, it's pretty muddy on that outside line. 15 minutes of British truck racing to come then. Ryan Smith and Stuart Oliver, the two all-time greats, on the front row. David Jenkins and Michael Oliver, son of Stuart, on row 2. The pace truck is in pit lane. Ready for the first of 4 truck races here on the Pembrey circuit today, in the penultimate weekend of the season for the 2023 British Truck Racing Championship. Paul Rivett and Adam Bint lead Division 2. Waiting for the red lights to go out, the power to come on. Here we go. It's the charge of the truck brigade down towards Hatchett's hairpin for the first time. Can Stuart Oliver outpace Ryan Smith into the first corner? It doesn't look like it. He's being pushed there, Ryan Smith, almost by David Jenkins. What's going to happen as they go into the hairpin? Simon Reed moving up the inside in the 89. They just about make it round the hairpin so far. All of Division 1 have got round. On board with Adam Bint chasing Neil Yates at the back of Division 1. Paul Rivett forces his way up the inside to take the lead of the class. Adam Bint being hung out to dry on the outside at Spitfires. Side by side between Simon Reed and Michael Oliver. Further forward there's John Bowler, Stephen Powell. It looks like it is Ryan Smith who's got the lead. Indeed it is. I think David Jenkins has got through into second place at the exit of the hairpin there ahead of Stuart Oliver. He has. Michael Oliver in 4th place, then the Reeds, then John Bowler, Powell, Bradley Smith, then Tom O'Rourke, Jock Borthwick, Simon Faulkner, Ricky Collins. Division 2 mixing it with Division 1. Further back, Neil Yates under fire from Paul Rivett, who leads the 2nd division ahead of Adam Bint. Into Brooklands they go for the first time. A nice fast-paced start. Craig Evans runs a bit wide there in the number 10 behind John Powell. Neil Yates in the slightly more powerful Division 1 truck stays ahead of Adam Bint. We're with him. This is the last thing Adam Bint wants. He's got a slower Division 1 truck in between himself and his class rival Paul Rivett. He wants to be on the tail of Rivett, challenging for the class lead. Talking of challenging for the lead, David Jenkins and Stuart Oliver weaving about down the pit straight, having a go at Ryan Smith. Ryan looking for his 2nd win of the weekend, I think his 17th win of the season. There's been some contact there. Look at the back of David Jenkins' truck. One of the wheel arches is damaged. It's not slowing him down, though. He's still up there in 2nd place. Jenkins was champion back in 2011. He wants a 2nd title. It won't be this year, I don't think, unfortunately for David. Flying Ryan starting to pull away already in the number 1. The Daimler Freightliner leads the MAN, leads the Volvo. 4th place is the MAN of Michael Oliver. No, it's not. Michael Oliver's dropped back behind the Reeds. They've got through. Simon and Craig Reed, the 2 Ivecos, in 4th and 5th now. So 4 different makes in the top 5 places. Daimler Freightliner, MAN, Volvo and Iveco. Next in the order are a clutch of MANs. We've got Michael Oliver, John Bowler, Stephen Powell. And we've got Bradley Smith, Tom O'Rourke, Neil Yates sideways, and that's caused chaos in Division 2. Adam Bint's on the grass. Can he get that going again? That's disaster for Adam Bint. The championship contender goes off. That was because Neil Yates nearly spun it ahead of him in the 33. Adam Bint will be pretty angry as a result of that, and channel his aggression into his driving to try and fight back. Simon Cole there behind him in the number 41. John Powell under fire from Craig Evans, so that means Adam Bint is down to P4 in Division 2. That's not what he wanted. Neil Yates dropping back, the newcomer, the recovery company boss, based in Kent. Loses out to John Powell and Craig Evans. Neil Yates, his first season of truck racing, had that big smash at Thruxton. Quite a baptism of fire that was for him. That was his first ever truck meeting. He's learning quickly, though, in the ex-Stephen Powell MAN. Ryan Smith leads by just under a 2nd. He has done the fastest lap of the race, 1:12.293. He watched John Powell under fire in Division 2, the Midland Caliper Centre DAF, one of the oldest trucks on the grid. Craig Evans MAN, the brown recycling truck, in behind him. They run wide through Brooklands. This is the 2nd in Division 2. Craig Evans is yet to win a Division 2 race. He came Very close at Brands Hatch early this season, ran wide on the last lap through Paddock Bend and lost the lead. They may be limited to 100 miles an hour, but they certainly look as if they're going a lot quicker coming through Honda Curve there. Fastest lap of the race for David Jenkins, 1:12.051. Only a few thousandths quicker than Ryan Smith on that last lap, but he's trying to close in. Closing in here is Bradley Smith on the back of Stephen Powell. This is the battle for 8th place. The result of this race sets the grid for race 4 of the weekend, with the top 8 in each division reversed. So if you finish 8th, you start on pole in a couple of races' time. Jenkins has now slipped back into the clutches of Stuart Oliver. Had a win yesterday, the 10-time British champion, 1-time European champion as well, Stuart. Reed's in 4th and 5th. They've dropped away from this lead battle. Neil Yates under fire from Adam Bince. It's Adam looking frustrated here after Neil made a mistake in front of him, forced him onto the grass. Thought he was going to give him a tap there, just to let him know he was there. Try and get past this slightly slower Division 1 runner and get up with his Division 2 rivals. Adam does not want to be stuck behind Neil Yates. With all due respect, Neil is learning his craft. It's only his 3rd truck race meeting. Bradley Smith still all over Stephen Powell. He had a shunt at Donington early this year. Young Bradley, the youngest man on the grid, 23 years of age, went into the tyre wall at the Craner Curves, and that's damaged the front axle on Bradley's truck. They performed heroics to get him back out later in the weekend, but it's not handling as well as it should, that MAN. It's a great shame for Bradley because he's 4th in the championship. His father Tony was a previous race winner in Division 2 in a Finnish-built Sisu. Remember him taking a couple of wins here at Pembrey a few years ago. Of course, the Sisu was successful in European truck racing, the likes of Jocke Kallio and the Finnish lady racer Minna Kopala. One of many ladies to have raced trucks over the years, had some success for Sisu. Harry Lestaranen as well. It's MAN's numerically dominant these days. MAN and Mercedes-Benz, the big makes in the European Championship. David Jenkins still holding 2nd place from Stuart Oliver. Steam pouring off these trucks, incidentally, if you've not seen these before, is coming from the water-cooled brakes. See steam coming from the wheels. Under 8.5 minutes of this race to go, so we're coming up towards half distance now. First of 4 races today for the British Truck Racing Championship. There you can see that loose wheel arch on David Jenkins' truck. Man from Stafford in the Morris Lubricants and Digraph Transport MAN. Stuart Oliver trying to have a look for 2nd place. And dropping back from Ryan Smith, who's got the fastest lap of the race now, 1:11.74. There is Flying Ryan. Comes from near Nottingham. Stuart Oliver from Northumberland, greatest British truck racer of all. Certainly at British Championship level. Internationally, I think Steve Parrish and Richard Walker might contest that. Still Adam Bitt cannot get past Neil Yates to challenge his fellow Division 2 runners. Yates sideways again at Brooklands. This is the battle for 2nd in Division 2. John Powell and Craig Evans, but they've dropped about 2.5 seconds behind Paul Rivette in his MAN. Rivette has been in dominant form recently. The black and white flag going out to somebody there. That's the driving standards flag. Check the number. It's number 3, Stephen Powell. So he's transgressed in some way. I suspect that's for exceeding track limits on one too many occasions. If he does it again, he might risk a time penalty. Still the battle for 2nd in Division 2 rages on. Stephen Powell, just mentioned him, making a move on Bradley Smith there. They've swapped places a couple of times. This is the battle for 8th position. More importantly, pole in race 4 if you finish 8th. Michael Oliver still ahead of John Bowler, ahead of them. Further back, Tom O'Rourke from Southern Scotland, the boss of MV Commercial, one of the partners of the championship. Adam Bint also getting the driving standards flag, but number 5 comes up on the timing screen as well. It's Craig Evans up the inside, he's taken John Powell, that's for second in Division 2. Where is Adam Bint? Oh, there he is. He's dropped back from Neil Yates, so maybe he's made a mistake somewhere, and that's why he's exceeded track limits. Thought for a second we'd lost him then. I remember Adam taking a win in that Volvo here at Pembrey when he held off the entire Division 2 field for the entire race. Brilliant piece of defensive driving. That was when that truck was in its CMG recovery livery, the old blue and white, on the Volvo White Aerodyne. Great name for a truck, that is. Not as good as the Volvo White Road Boss, which the likes of Slim Borgen used to race. Well, there goes Flying Ryan. See what his lead is through this time. He's done another fastest lap of the race, 1:11.39. 4.2 seconds up now. So technically, yesterday his record of winning race 1 at every weekend was ended, because the first race he won was the Thruxton race. Every year he's won races 1 and 2 of the weekend from the front of the grid, but he was beaten yesterday in what's effectively Pembrey race 1 by Stuart Oliver. Got that? Good. Stuart Oliver is rather stuck behind David Jenkins here for second place. He wants to come on by. Can't get the line away then from the MAN pilots. The Reeds still 4th and 5th, ahead of Michael Oliver. And Bradley Smith, I can tell you, has now got past Stephen Powell. This is the battle further back. So there's Bradley Smith up ahead. He's got through on the MAN now. Number 3, Stephen Powell, lives virtually next door to Brands Hatch Circuit in Kent. Tom O'Rourke, all the way from Livingston in Scotland. Ricky Collett from Halifax in Yorkshire runs a heavy haulage company. Some of the biggest loads on Britain's roads you'll see being hauled by Collett's, including many of the UK's wind turbines they've helped to put up over the years. Getting big wind turbine blades into what are often very inaccessible locations is a big logistical challenge. Interesting to see some of the jobs Collett's have done over the years. Jock Borthwick behind them, great to have the Scotsman back after those injuries he suffered earlier this year when he came off his motorbike on the Isle of Man while visiting the TT. Raising money for the My Name's Doddy campaign, Jock Borthwick this year, made of motor neurone disease research. Just over 3 minutes of this race to go now. And Ryan Smith, as we've seen so often before, problems for Neil Yates. He's had an off, that's coming out of the hairpin, I think. Yes, it is. So Adam Bint has finally got ahead of him, at least. Now we're in different divisions. With Adam Bint now with free rein to go after the fellow Division 2 runners. The leaders lapping Jim Bennett in the classic Seddon Atkinson. There is our Division 2 leader, Paul Rivette. He's well clear of Craig Evans now in to the tune of 3 seconds, the Napa MAN. Ryan Smith leading by over 5 seconds. Still, Stuart Oliver unable to get past David Jenkins for P2. 10 laps in the book now. A couple more to go. A lively opener today for the British Truck Racing Championship. 3 more races to go later on. Next one is at 11:50 before the lunch break. Tom O'Rourke has got ahead of Ricky Collett and Jock Borthwick. Good fight going on there. Collett goes wide, Borthwick goes through at the crossing. He's up into P11. Oh, penalty for David Jenkins. He's got a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. So Jenkins is going to lose that second place to Stuart Oliver, so Oliver doesn't need to attack now. 2 laps to go. Or thereabouts. I think Jenkins, let's have a look, is far enough ahead of Simon Reed that he will only lose 1 spot in the result with that penalty. So a 5-second penalty. Yes, Simon Reed's 8 seconds back on these two. Reed brothers have run nose to tail all race long once they got past Michael Oliver. Still in P6. Bradley Smith is now up into 7th. We may have lost John Bowler and Stephen Powell. They're dropping down the timing screen, so something's happened somewhere. No, John Bowler is there. Might be a transponder issue for him. Yeah, he's in P8, but Stephen Powell has not come through on that last lap. So what has happened to the number 3? Has he stopped somewhere or has he gone off? There are the Reeds, 4th and 5th. Ah, that's what confused the issue. Stephen Powell's got a penalty as well. Yeah, there's a transponder problem. There is the number 3. He is still going, so apologies there. Being confused a bit by the timing screen. He's in P9, and he was given a 5-second penalty, which initially dropped him down the timing screen, so we'll see where he slots in with that. So Powell gets a penalty for track limits as well. All 20 trucks then are still running. Clock has counted down to 0, so it's going to be yet another victory for Ryan Smith. A little bit of steam there from the right-hand side of the truck, but it's not slowing him down. All the way, once again, for the Daimler Freightliner. And he's going to take the fastest lap as well, so to get the full 16 points on offer, 15 for the win, 1 point for the fastest lap. John Bowler sideways there in his MAN. He was sideways all the way through yesterday as well, chasing Bradley Smith. But here comes flying Ryan Smith, no relation to Bradley. It's going to be another win for the number 1. He takes the flag. Here, wait for our second place man to come in. They're going to finish together, Jenkins and Oliver. It will be Oliver second because Jenkins has got that penalty. Simon Cole comes in a lap down. The Reeds will come in 4th and 5th. Simon ahead of his younger brother Craig. And Division 2 is going to be won by Paul Rivette. A frustrating race there for Adam Binton. Paul Rivette even playing with the Division 1 trucks. He's chasing Simon Faulkner there for P13 overall. See where that penalty puts Stephen Powell. Jock Borthwick's lost a bit of ground on that last lap. He's in P10 ahead of Collett and O'Rourke. They had a good scrap towards the end of the race as well. 8th place goes to John Bowler, so he'll have a pole position for race 4 later on alongside Bradley Smith in the reverse grid. Paul Rivette wins Division 2 ahead of Craig Evans. And here's Adam Bint up behind John Powell. He could snatch 3rd in class here on the run to the line. No, he's gone wide onto the grass. That just about sums Adam Bint's race up, unfortunately. So while we await Pointy down in Parc Fermé, we will try and do the mathematics in a moment to work out the championship points. So Ryan Smith takes the win by 6 seconds in the end ahead of Stuart Oliver, gets the fastest lap as well in Division 1. Second for Oliver ahead of Jenkins, who got that 5-second penalty, but he does retain 3rd ahead of the Reeds. Then Michael Oliver, Bradley Smith, John Bowler in 8th ahead of Stephen Powell, also with a 5-second penalty, just ahead of Jock Borthwick. Then Collett, O'Rourke and Faulkner. Paul Rivette wins Division 2 in 14th place, gets the fastest lap as well, so a maximum score for him ahead of Craig Evans, John Powell. Adam Bint only 4th in class. That's going to close the gap at the top of the championship. Neil Yates, Simon Cole and Jim Bennett completing the finishers.